Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sammy for those of you who are new, and I'm the owner of Strength by Sammy, which is a women's health training facility. I'm so excited to be back and talk a lot more about my upcoming prep, which is actually starting this week. So for those of you who don't know, I am a physique bikini competitor and I compete on stage for the WBFF. So this is going to be my first show of 2023, probably my only show. So I'm really excited to get back into prep mode. It's been over a year since I have gotten on stage, so I'm really excited to share some of the details with you. And before I get into like the nitty-gritty of competing and the details of tracking macros and my workouts, I'm just gonna be honest, I did not want to make this video this week. Starting a YouTube, I knew it would be challenging and I knew it would be time consuming, but I really wanted to share the details of physique competing, owning a small business, being a full-time graduate student, now I'm graduated, and just like the struggles I face and what it's like balancing multiple different aspects of my career. So that being said, like I didn't want to do this video, but I'm going to hold myself accountable, and it might not be the best, but I am going to share with you guys where I'm at as I start the prep this week. And I'm really excited to start it because it's been so long since I've been prepping, but I just want to be honest with you. And then just a little update on life, like what am I doing right now. So in addition to studying for the RD exam, which is now like 3 weeks away, my boyfriend will be graduating from the police academy. So we have his graduation coming up. I will be guest starring on a podcast talking about women's health myths. So stay tuned. I will provide details on that. And then I'm also going to be speaking at a local gymnastics facility, talking to girls about fueling their bodies right. So I just have a lot going on for the month of July, on top of a photo shoot I have coming up in like 2 weeks. So I've just been overwhelmed, to say the least. All good things, which is great. But that being said, sometimes it's just so hard to make content during these times. But I'm here. I'm going to share it with you guys. Hopefully you learn something or get a little bit more details about the prep life as I start my 20-week prep. I am probably going to say this like 400 times more throughout this video, but I'm just going to tell you where I'm at. Again, I'm in the first week of prep. Therefore, I'm not really changing too much. I am at about 23 to 2,400 calories, so about 140 grams of protein, 300 grams of carbs, 70 grams of fat. I'm also doing a 5-day split, which I've mentioned before, 3 lower body days, 2 upper body days, all lifting. No organized cardio yet, but I am doing 10,000 steps per day. I got my Apple Watch finally, so I can actually start accurately tracking my steps. And then I just do cardio as I feel needed with like running, hiking, any type of just outdoor activities. But as I get closer to show, I will be doing scheduled cardio sessions. Before I get into the details of what is going on with my prep, I want to share some progress photos. So they're not too different from the last ones I've shown. My weight is still about 128, 129. I am still about the same inches between my glutes, which is about 39 and a quarter inches, about 22 inches in my quads on both sides, and then about 28, 29 inches in my waist. So those haven't changed much. Pretty much all I've been doing for the past 2 to 3 weeks is just getting back on track with tracking my food. So everything's kind of more consistent, increasing my step count, making sure I'm hitting at least 10,000 steps per day right now. So not many changes going on here. Going into next week, I will probably be doing a small reduction in carbohydrates and fats, and I'll get into more detail about that later on in this video. I'm going to do my best to share with you all of the food items I do eat throughout the day. I probably will not film all of them. For example, at 5 a.m., my egg sandwich, which is shown here, exact portion sizes and calorie intake, I don't have a picture of that. However, I'm going to do my best to just share with you the quantities and calories, not all the glamorous pictures of what I eat in a day, because I just don't have time for that today, unfortunately. But I will share with you some of the items I do have pictures of, so you can get an idea of what portion sizes look like and what calories are looking like.
So right now I am going on my big walk of the day. I am currently hitting 10,000 steps per day, kind of easing myself into my prep. That will go up the closer I get to stage. Right now I am, I believe, more like 20 weeks out. So we're just gonna stick with the 10,000 for now and consistently hit that every day. From there, I'll usually go for like 12,000, then 15,000 while I'm on my walks to stay as productive as possible. I do my best to track my food for the next day, which is currently what I'm doing, and I'll share that with you guys. I am still currently at 140 grams of protein, 300 grams of carbs, and about 70 grams of fat. Throughout this video, I'm gonna screenshot and share with you guys what my meals look like. Unfortunately, I haven't filmed all of them in the morning when it's like 5 a.m. The last thing I wanna do is film my breakfast sandwich, but I will share with you what it looks like, my portion sizes. The biggest thing with my bulk is I don't like to dirty bulk. I will eat things like wings or like pizza or things like that. However, I don't try to make that like an everyday thing, because in reality, you want to fill your body up with whole foods, not a bunch of fun foods, as I like to call them. So I do my best to stay with whole foods when hitting my macros. However, that can be very difficult, especially with my extremely high carb intake, which is around 300 grams. So I'm going to show you how I do that. The biggest differences I have between a bulk and a cut is my portion sizes. So my carb sources stay the same. So I'll eat like rice, I'll eat pasta, I'll eat potatoes, I'll eat oatmeal, but the portion I eat them in changes. So as I get closer to stage, you'll see my carbs will go down, my fat will go down, but my protein will stay high. This is going to help me conserve as much lean body mass, so muscle, as possible as I cut body fat going into stage. So today, when you're looking at my food portions, you're gonna see that my pasta is around like a cup, where as I get closer to stage, it might be 1/4 of a cup. And same thing with like my oatmeal, I'll probably do like 3/4 of a cup, but as I get closer to stage, it might be 1/4 of a cup. Other areas I get calories in are condiments. Something I cut as I get closer to stage. I'm not using a lot of like sauces that are high calorie, definitely not using mayonnaise, but those will help me hit my total macros, which is gonna help, especially because I'm eating so much whole food. It's just gonna kind of add those extra calories that I need to stay in my maintenance calories right now. My maintenance is around like 2,500 calories. For me, that's a lot. And because I'm eating mostly whole food, I don't wanna be like overly full all day long to the point where I'm uncomfortable. So that's gonna help me hit some extra calories instead of like stuffing my face with more volume. However, as I get closer to stage, you're gonna notice that the volume is gonna be cranked up and the density of the calories are gonna be much lower. So I'm not gonna use things, like I said, like mayonnaise, maybe not using salad dressings as much, because those are really calorie dense. Olive oil, that's another one I tend to reduce the amount of, because I don't want to fill up my calorie intake without feeling full, because that is one of the biggest things with prep, is making sure that you still can eat when you're feeling hungry, but without going over your calorie intake.
So I just got back from my walk and I hit about 5,500 steps. So I only have about 4,500 left for the day, and it's like 9:30 a.m. It took me about 40 minutes. So typically to fit that 10,000 steps in per day, I will do about a 30 or 40-minute walk at one point. So that's my big walk. And then I'll do 2 10 to 15-minute walks throughout the day whenever I have time. So whether it's between clients, when I'm at home, need a study break, or just right before dinner or after dinner, I'll just try to get those extra steps in to hit that 10,000. So my walk started to get really loud, and I decided I'm going to film this part here because I do think it's important. So something I don't do in the beginning of my prep, basically when I'm still in like a maintenance phase, and this may be controversial, but I don't track my vegetables that are low calorie vegetables. So for example, I'm going to eat broccoli today. It will be tracked, but it's so minuscule. It's like 30 calories, maybe 40 calories total. I'm not going to really track that in a build because they're so minuscule and they're not going to add up to that total calorie range I need to be in. However, as you get closer to prep, you're going to notice that I will track more and more, even down to like cucumbers, broccoli, peppers, onions. But right now, I'm very minimally going to be tracking my vegetables, pretty much just enough to make sure I'm hitting my fiber intake. Or if it's a higher calorie vegetable, for example, obviously potatoes are going to be tracked. Things like butternut squash, which is a higher sugar type vegetable, peas, carrots, things like that will be tracked. Fruit will be tracked because fruit tends to be higher calorie and obviously has a higher sugar content than vegetables. But the lower vegetables that don't have a lot of calories, they are not going to be tracked to a T until I get about like 12 to 8 weeks out. So right now I'm pretty much chilling until my client gets here. I have about like 5 minutes or so. I will be hitting leg day soon, so I will take you guys along with me for that. I am still hitting 5 days a week right now with lifts. So that's pretty much 3 lower body days, 2 upper body days, and no assigned cardio yet. Personally, I will do my best to get 1 maybe 2 days of cardio, but more just like natural cardio, going for a hike, being active. Like yesterday, I played volleyball in the pool with my family, and then I golfed, and then we played some wiffle ball. So like not a ton of organized cardio just yet outside of my step range. So far, in addition to my breakfast, which you've already seen, I've also had a banana, which isn't pictured here. I ate a banana. And then I've had like an oatmeal kind of little parfait I made with a smoothie. So pretty much what I'm going to try to do is make all of my meals around 400 or 500 calories, making sure that protein is high. This was mostly planned yesterday, but I do kind of work out the kinks the day of. So most of my cooking is actually already done. I do it earlier in the week. However, I don't actually portion out my meals till the day of or the day before. This is new. I used to always portion out my meals for the entire week in advance, but that was when I was in school. So therefore, I kind of had no choice. I had to bring a lot of my meals with me to school or to work, where now I get the freedom to kind of just put them together as I need. So right now, I am prepping a broccoli chicken salad with some sunflowers, a little bit of mayonnaise, and some soup. I am also part of a CSA. So as I mentioned earlier, I try to eat as much fresh fruits and vegetables as I can. Just whole foods, especially in the summer in New England, we get a lot of really awesome fresh produce. So I do my best to eat local and fresh. That means a lot of prepping vegetables all week long. So this is some broccoli I got earlier this week that I'm finally able to cut up and enjoy. So as you can see, I am literally weighing out every single one of the things I'm putting in my salad, with the exception of the vegetables, which I talked about earlier. Right now, I won't measure it to that degree. However, I will measure it when I get closer to stage. Things like chicken, the sweet potato, and things like the sunflower seeds are definitely getting weighed because they are calorie dense.
So I just made it back to my studio. I'm gonna hit legs right now before I have my evening clients. However, before I had to hit this workout, I actually had a turkey sandwich. So I'll share right here what went into my sandwich and how many calories about it is. And then I'm gonna have my post-workout meal, which will probably be that broccoli chicken salad you saw me making earlier. I'm not gonna provide the full details of my workout because this is strictly just showing you guys what I do when I am in a prep. But if you would like to see more details of my workouts, please let me know and I can do a separate video showing you exactly what I'm doing on my leg days. So I just finished my leg day. I'm gonna eat this interesting looking chicken, broccoli, sweet potato salad that I made. I never promised that these would be gourmet looking meals, but they hit my macros, so that's what matters.
Okay, so yesterday after I got out of work, things got a little crazy, and unfortunately, I had to deal with the flood that was in my boyfriend's basement. So I didn't get a chance to kind of finish up filming the end of my day and what I was eating. So there's a few other areas I want to share with you guys that I include during my prep. So one, I came home, I had like a nice big stir fry dinner. I added some egg whites for extra protein, chicken. I did some zucchini. You're going to see that video here. And then here are also the calorie and portion sizes. However, I was still a little bit low on my carbohydrates, so I made sure I had some rice cakes before bed to make sure I hit that carbohydrate intake. So this is a summary of my total intake for the day. So I'm about 4 grams under protein, maybe like 7 grams under on carbs. However, I'm like a couple grams over on fat, so the calories themselves balance out. Today I'm going to try to do a little bit better and taper those numbers in. Other areas of my total intake that I just like to focus on because I am very health conscious and my health is my first priority. Just to disclose, bodybuilding is not a very healthy sport. You get down to a very low body fat where metabolically your body is not functioning normally. So people will lose their periods, your sex drive goes down, your energy levels go down, you start to experience brain fog. So as a whole, bodybuilding is not like you are not in the healthiest shape of your life, although people might think you look like you are. Therefore, I make my health my top priority. So some things that I like to look at is make sure my fiber intake is good. Make sure that I'm hitting the recommended intake for women, which is around 25 grams per day. That's going to help with like gut health, bloating, normal bowel movements, minimizing GI symptoms. I'm also going to look at my saturated fat and make sure that that's fairly low. That is the fat that's linked to bad cholesterol levels. So just limiting my red meat, baked goods. I don't do dairy products, but you'd also find a lot of dairy products are high in saturated fat. And then I'm also just looking at my sugar intake. I don't track my sugar intake. Like it looks very high based on my total intake for the day. However, I do consume a lot of fruit. So what I do is when I'm reading labels, I make sure I really minimize added sugar and then just including more natural sugars. So like I said, fruits, the juices I buy don't have added sugars either. So 2 things I didn't address yesterday that I want to talk about today. 1, supplements, and 2, water intake. So currently the only supplement I take is creatine. I used to take protein powder. However, I'm really trying to get more towards whole foods. That has more to do with like my skin and my gut health, not exactly anything to do with like building lean muscle. So that's why my protein's been a little bit short. I've been trying to make up for the fact that I've been doing a mass gainer for the past 6 months. And now I'm trying to eat those 500-600 calories that I've been getting from a supplement. However, I do take creatine. I take it every single day, and I take 5 grams. I will share my brand here that I take. No, I'm not sponsored in any way. I would like to be. So this is the creatine I use. It is third-party certified, meaning it gets sent out to a separate agency that tests it for purity and quality. I only use third-party certified supplements just because it's going to ensure just a better product overall. As for water intake goes, I am not tracking my current water intake yet. I am drinking 1 hydro jug a day, so a pretty big amount of water. Just focusing on staying hydrated. Obviously with exercise and cardio, it gets really hot here. So I need to make sure I am putting the fluids back in as I sweat them out. As I get closer to stage, I'll talk more about how my fluid intake needs to be more consistent, especially the weeks leading up to show, to make sure I'm not bloated from water, but also not like depleted either. On the topic of fluids and just hydration, during prep, I do not drink alcohol. So will have no alcohol from now until stage. Some competitors will. They'll fit a glass of wine in with their macros. Personally, that's just not for me. It's not doing me any benefit at all. Like it's not going to help me build lean muscle mass. It's going to put me back. It's going to unmotivate me. I don't really drink a lot to begin with, so it's not very difficult for me to do. I very seldom drink, maybe like once every 2 weeks to like once a month. So for me to cut this out for the next like 5 to 6 months is like nothing for me, but that is something that's super important to include when I start my prep. And that's all for today's episode. I hope you learned something about competing. I think a lot of people think the second I say I'm going on prep, I'm going from an extremely liberal diet to an extremely restrictive one where I'm eating like nothing every day. I'm going like a crazy person, but that's not it. It's not 20 weeks of like 1,000 calories per day, running every day, lifting every day. It's a very gradual decrease in calories and increase in expenditure as I get closer to stage. Going into like a crash dieting phase for 20 weeks would not be sustainable, and I would totally have to tap out before the competition even came. So the point of going nice and slow and steady is to keep as much muscle mass as possible that I've built during my bulk, and then looking the best I can on stage while kind of keeping metabolic health the first priority. I'm going to get into more details as I slowly lean out over the next like 4 to 5 weeks, and I'll give you another update then. Stay tuned for next week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe, comment if you have any questions, or if you'd like anything you saw today. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day.